What if I told you some of Earth's most extraordinary animals are disappearing so fast? You'll likely never see them again, not in a zoo, not in the wild, not even in a documentary. They're vanishing right now, and in many cases, we didn't even get a chance to say goodbye. These aren't fantasy creatures from a sci-fi film, they're real, rare, and on the brink. From invisible ocean porpoises to jungle-dwelling unicorns, this is the final roll call for some of the most remarkable species ever to walk, fly, or swim on this planet. And guess what? Most people have no idea they exist. Let's begin with one of the most heartbreaking examples of extinction in progress, the northern white rhinoceros. The northern white rhino isn't just rare, it's practically a ghost. As of mid-2025, only two are left on Earth, Najin and Fatu, both females, living under constant guard in Kenya. The last male, Sudan, passed away in 2018, making natural reproduction impossible. But here's where science steps in like a sci-fi movie. Researchers have created over 30 embryos using stored sperm and egg cells, with plans to implant them into surrogate southern white rhino females. If successful, it would be the first time we've ever brought an extinct-in-the-wild mammal back using lab science. The northern white rhino story isn't just about extinction, it's about hope, human responsibility, and whether technology can truly undo what poaching and habitat loss have destroyed. The Vaquita. In the Gulf of California swims a creature so rare, so mysterious, that spotting one is like winning the world's most heartbreaking lottery. It's the Vaquita, a small, shy porpoise with panda-like markings. Scientists believe there are now fewer than 10 vaquitas left in the wild as of 2025, with some reports estimating as few as 6 individuals. The culprit behind their decline? Illegal fishing nets set to catch totoaba, a fish prized for its bladder in Chinese medicine. Conservation groups have tried everything from banning gillnets to patrolling the seas, but enforcement is spotty and the black market thrives. If the vaquita disappears, it will be the first marine mammal driven to extinction solely by human greed in the 21st century. The Javan rhinoceros. While the northern white rhino is being engineered in labs, the Javan rhino is fighting for survival in the shadows. Roughly 74 individuals survive today, all confined to Indonesia's Ujung Kulon National Park. They're solitary, secretive, and incredibly hard to study. There are no Javan rhinos in captivity anywhere on Earth, which means if something happens to their tiny forest home, like disease, natural disaster, or poaching, they're done. Conservationists use hidden cameras to track births and monitor movements. A single baby rhino spotted in 2025 sparked celebrations across the globe. But every win is fragile. Without expanded habitat and stronger protection, this ancient species might vanish without many people even knowing it existed. The Amur leopard. The Amur leopard is not only the rarest big cat alive, it's arguably the most beautiful. With a luxurious spotted coat adapted for the snowy Russian wilderness, it looks like it stepped out of a fantasy novel. Yet fewer than 100 remain in the wild, found only in a thin strip of land along the Russia-China border. Decades of poaching and deforestation drove them to the brink. Thankfully, a recent uptick in anti-poaching efforts and a dedicated breeding program have caused a slight rebound. It's slow progress, but it proves that conservation can work if given the time, the funding, and the will. The whale that no one has ever seen alive now for something surreal, the spade-toothed beaked whale. We've never seen one alive, not once. Every bit of knowledge we have comes from a few carcasses that washed up in New Zealand. It's the world's rarest whale and possibly the most mysterious. In 2024 and 2025, a few more strandings gave researchers precious insight into its diet and anatomy, but its behavior, migration, and population size remain unknown. It's as if the ocean itself is hiding a secret. This whale reminds us just how vast and unexplored our seas still are, and how fragile even those hidden lives can be. Devil's Hole pupfish. The Devil's Hole pupfish isn't rare because it's hard to find. It's rare because it only lives in one spot, a tiny geothermal cave in Death Valley National Park. The entire global population exists in a space no larger than a living room. In early 2025, following seismic activity, the population dropped to just 38 fish. That's not a typo. 38. Scientists monitor them daily using underwater cameras, carefully controlling temperature and water levels. This fish has survived thousands of years in one of the harshest environments on Earth. If resilience had a mascot, this would be it. The rediscovered Upemba lechwe. Long thought extinct, the Upemba lechwe, a swamp-dwelling antelope in the Democratic Republic of Congo, was photographed in the wild in May 2025. Fewer than 100 are believed to remain. The rediscovery was a conservationist dream come true, proving that nature can still surprise us. But the celebration was short-lived. These animals are threatened by hunting, lack of protected areas, and limited awareness. Now, armed with proof of life, organizations are rushing to create funding, patrolling systems, and breeding strategies to give this antelope a second chance. Eastern bongo. In June 2025, a baby eastern bongo was born at the Houston Zoo, lighting a small flame of hope for a species on the edge. Fewer than 200 of these large striped forest antelopes remain in the wild, mostly in Kenya. They're hunted for their horns and meat and suffer from severe habitat fragmentation. The new birth is part of a global breeding program designed to preserve genetic diversity in captivity, while efforts are made to restore their forest homes. In this case, the zoo isn't just a place for people to stare at animals, it's an ark. The vanishing Sulu hornbill high in the treetops of the Sulu archipelago lives a bird with fewer than 30 mature individuals left. The Sulu hornbill is clinging to survival on a handful of Philippine islands, constantly threatened by illegal logging and hunting. It's an incredibly striking bird with a massive casque atop its beak and jet black feathers. Local efforts have included educational programs and community-driven protection plans, but enforcement is weak. Without intervention, this bird may vanish within the decade. Think about that. A species going extinct within our lifetime because it was simply ignored. Santa Marta saberwing. The Santa Marta saberwing is a tiny hummingbird with a comeback story straight out of Hollywood. Once presumed extinct for over a decade, it was rediscovered in 2023 and confirmed again in 2024 and 2025. Found only in a remote mountain valley in Colombia, its total population is still a mystery, but sightings have stirred a conservation frenzy. Birdwatchers and biologists alike are racing to protect its high-altitude forest habitat before agriculture and climate change wipe it out for good. Mediterranean monk seal. Europe's rarest seal, the Mediterranean monk seal, has been clinging to survival in hidden sea caves from Greece to Madeira. With fewer than 700 individuals remaining, it's one of the few marine mammals that has never adapted to captivity. That means if its habitat is destroyed, the species is finished. Thankfully, coordinated conservation efforts across several Mediterranean nations have resulted in modest population growth, showing that even critically endangered marine life can bounce back with the right protection. Bengal florican. Known for its hilarious, sky-leaping courtship dance, the Bengal florican is one of Asia's rarest birds. There are fewer than 1,000 of these strange, elegant creatures left, spread across India, Nepal, and Cambodia. Their biggest threat? Agriculture. The very grasslands they depend on for survival are being plowed under to grow crops. Conservationists are working with local farmers to protect patches of habitat and introduce incentives to leave land wild, proving that people and wildlife can coexist if given the right tools. Nguru spiny pygmy chameleon. This adorable chameleon, no bigger than your pinky finger, lives only in the misty mountains of southeast Tanzania. With habitat destruction and the exotic pet trade threatening its survival, conservationists are partnering with local communities to enforce bans on collection and to protect its forest home. It's living proof that even the tiniest creatures face enormous threats, and that biodiversity isn't just about big, flashy animals. Why this matters: each of these animals represents a story millions of years in the making, stories that could end in our lifetime. Beyond beauty, beyond rarity, they matter because they are integral parts of ecosystems that keep the planet running. When we lose them, we don't just lose a species, we lose balance, possibility, and the silent promise of what nature can still teach us. And there you have it, Earth's rarest animals, living on the edge of existence. If this video opened your eyes, tugged at your heart, or made you say, "Whoa, I had no idea," then do your part. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a story that actually matters.